The boy was horrified to discover that his ugly father managed to bring home a different beautiful stranger every month. Strangely, these women, who had originally been proud, were full of disgust and contempt when they encountered his father on the street. The moment his father whispered a single sentence into their ears, those women seemed to be under a spell, obediently following his father into the cellar of the house. Once these women emerged from the cellar, their attitude toward his father changed completely. They washed his feet, cooked meals, served tea, slept by his side, and worked tirelessly without complaint. Yet, when the 30-day term ended, his father would mercilessly drive them away. Even if they cried, knelt, and begged, his father never uttered more than a cold sentence, stating that no one was allowed to break the rules, and that after one incense stick burned down they had to leave, and never set foot in the village again. The son witnessed all of this with his own eyes. He was very confused, because, compared to his father, he was also quite handsome, yet he still did not have a girlfriend. The girls he pursued all rejected him for being poor. This made him feel deeply wronged. Why, he wondered, could his old, ugly, ragged father make strangers willingly enter the cellar each month? Why, after emerging, did these beautiful women become completely submissive and dutiful toward his father, even calling him master, serving him for a full 30 days, willing to bear his children, and content to be his lifelong servants? As soon as the time was up, his father would coldly toss them aside, like puppets discarded after completing a program. The son had tried many times to approach the cellar, but each time his father stopped him in an extremely stern tone, warning that until he married, if he did not want to die he should stay away from the yard, especially that cellar. If he saw what he shouldn't see inside the cellar, death would be certain. That warning etched itself into his mind like a curse, but curiosity grew like wild vines, and so a month passed, and it was time for the latest woman to leave. She knelt on the ground, crying, clutching his father's leg, pleading humbly for him to let her stay. The woman sobbed in despair. The son stood to the side, silently watching, never understanding, until one day, his father, as usual, looked for a new prey on the street. Soon he locked eyes with a coldly elegant woman in white. When he approached her, she sneered and called him a beggar, telling him to go away. But seconds later, his father leaned in and whispered a few words. The woman's expression immediately changed. She then followed the father home. The son couldn't understand why, despite his father's ugliness, women continued to become his slaves, while his own sincere efforts were trampled underfoot, leaving him girlfriendless. He waited at the door, anxious for his father's decision, eager to uncover the truth. Seeing his son panic at the door, his father scolded him for coming to this place, warning that he would incur divine punishment and die without burial. The son declared that he was already an adult, no longer believing his father's casual lies, viewing divine punishment as nothing more than a scare tactic. Besides, none of the other young men in the village were wifeless. He was the only one still without a girlfriend, so he had nothing to fear from divine wrath. Seeing his son determined to learn the cellar's secret, his father had no choice but to lead him to the cellar entrance. Staring at the cellar, he fell into thought. The answer to how his father could make beautiful women submit had to be right in front of him. He resolved that, no matter the divine punishment, he would accept it if it meant he could win a wife. His father reminded him that until the cellar was opened, he still had a chance to regret it.